See, notes, I got that. I have my Zero Carb Rockstar. There you go. Let's see. I have an interview coming up with the former assistant director of the F.B.I. Notes. Why Democrats are idiots. I think I'm about ready to do the show. Oh, the microphone's on. Oh, hey, how are you? It's Rusty Humphries. Thanks for downloading the podcast. I appreciate it. We'll start it in just a minute. Before I get started, though, I want to tell you about Australian Dream Arthritis Pain Relief Cream. Now, if you've ever had arthritis, let's go back to when you were a kid. Remember when Grandma used to use that product that really stunk, or your parents did? Oh, man. What are you, about to die or something? I mean, that stuff is strong. That's not what happens when you use Australian Dream Arthritis Pain Relief Cream. Here's the deal. It works better than those products, number one. You feel better. But it doesn't burn. It doesn't smell. And in the words of the great philosopher Chuck Woolery, it's not greasy. I would use the word greasy, but he's from Kentucky, whatever. Anyway, it's a great product. Doesn't burn, doesn't smell, not greasy. And has an empty jar guarantee. Use the whole thing. And if it doesn't work for you, it's gonna. But if it doesn't work for you, guess what? They'll give you your money back. It's that simple. Go to AustralianDream.com to find out more. It's available at all great big retail stores, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS. If it's not in your store, just leave everything in your basket and just turn around and walk out. That's how important it is to have your Australian Dream Arthritis Pain Relief Cream, because not only is it a great product, but it supports great shows like this. So please, please, please support Australian Dream Arthritis Pain Relief Cream.
Yeah, we don't want to do anything to scare your children. That's the last thing we want to do. That's a direct order. Do it now.
He's been put down, ripped off, cut open. Now he's unleashed. The American Insurgency starts now. This is Rusty Humphries, Rebellion Radio.
Well, hello, my brother from another mother. How you doing, my sister from another mister? Hello, welcome. It is the Rusty Humphries Rebellion. It's brought to you by Australian Dream Arthritis Pain Relief Cream and by Ad Zombies. Coming up in just a little bit, we're going to have former assistant director of the FBI. His name is Ron Hosko. We're going to talk with him about the James Comey thing. It's all that anybody can talk about. I mean, have you turned on the TV lately? Unless you're watching one of those happy talk shows. I turned on Good Morning Arizona or something. I never watch morning TV. Now I know why. Man, it's awful. Local TV? What happened? It's unwatchable. Okay, we got a recipe coming up, and then after the recipe, we're going to tell you the weather again, and then traffic again. It's like, oh, so I need weather every 5 minutes. I think it's every 10 minutes. They got weather every 10 minutes because I guess I can't look on my cell phone instantly and find the weather. And I don't have a GPS in my car that tells me where the bad traffic is. What a bunch of maroon. No wonder TV and radio is in such trouble. One of the reasons why I love the podcast. Because also you're not sitting through 22 minutes an hour of commercials. I only give you a couple of commercials because, hey, that's how we pay the bills. And these are great people and great clients and people I really believe in. I really believe in Australian Dream. I'm going to tell you about a new product, too, called Ad Zombies if you do stuff on the web. And a great friend of mine has this business that's really taking off called Ad Zombies. And I can't wait to tell you about it. Now, I want to thank you for listening. Also, really, really important, because Facebook and YouTube are strangling conservative views right now. It's so noticeable, I can't tell you. I mean, not that long ago, a post of mine would get 10, 20,000 hits, right? And I keep getting, my pages keep getting bigger and bigger, but the people that see it is going down. Now, when people see it, they're very active on my page at Talk to Rusty, but it's Facebook not letting you see it. So you have to do a couple of things. It's so important, and then I'll get to work. I'll get off my soapbox. But it's so important that, number one, you go to my Facebook page and you click like, and that you make sure it comes up first on your news feed. Rusty, everybody asked me to do that. I'm tired of doing that. I don't blame you. I don't. But I'm telling you, we have some very cool things coming up very soon. We're going to start Rusty Humphries live on Facebook and on this podcast. That's coming up early next month. I'll tell you about that. But we can't allow these corporations with a liberal political bent to change the news, to change freedom of speech. I believe that every lefty has the right to go out there and talk. I want to hear more views. But see, there's the difference. I want to hear more views. They want to hear less. And they're shutting people like me down. Don't let them do it. Go to my Facebook page. It's Talk to Rusty. Talk the number 2 Rusty. Type that in the search bar. Like it. Make sure it comes up first. Also, make sure on this podcast, especially if you're on iTunes, would you please subscribe to it so it just goes right to your box, right to your phone, listen to it, and write a review. Very, very, very important. Okay, one of the things I want you to think about, we've got all these people going, yeah, Hillary won the popular vote, and Trump worked with the Russians, and because of that, Hillary should have won. Okay. Can we be real just for a minute? I want you to try to wrap your brain around this, okay? There are 3,141 counties in the United States. 3,141. Trump won 3,084. Man, I need glasses. Have you noticed your eyesight going down? I am. Lately, it's just like I'm an old guy all of a sudden. I'm holding the papers out. I can't see stuff up close. I'm getting old, boys and girls. I remember back in the 1900s and 80-somethings. Heck, I can remember back to the 1900s and 70-somethings. I'm turning into a grouchy old man. All right, so back to this thing with Trump. Okay, so 3,141 counties in the United States. Trump won 3,084 of them. Hillary Clinton won 57 counties. That's it. 57 counties across the country. Now, there are 62 counties in New York State. If you recall, Hillary was, of course, the senator from New York. Of those 62 counties in New York, Trump won 46 of them. Clinton won 16. Now, here is why people are saying we got to get rid of that electoral college. It is old for them old people. No, here's why we need the electoral college and why it's right. The founding fathers were so much smarter than the idiots we got running the country today. Hillary won that popular vote by about 2 million votes, right? So, in the counties that encompass New York City, Bronx, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Richmond, Queens, Clinton received well over 2 million votes than Trump. And by the way, Clinton won 4 of those 5 counties. Those 5 counties alone more than accounted for Clinton's winning the popular vote of the entire country. Those counties comprised 319 square miles. The United States is 3.797 million square miles. So when you have a country that encompasses almost 4 million square miles of territory, do you really think that the vote of those who inhabit a mere 319 square miles should dictate the outcome of a national election? The answer is no. And that's why we have the Electoral College and why it's so important. Let's go back to the city of New York, shall we? Chuck Schumer, the great con man himself, was speaking last night. Again, all anybody can talk about is James Comey. And I want you to listen to what he said after Trump fired James Comey. And here's why it's important. Because what Chuck Schumer is doing, and I will give him credit for this, it is brilliant. He is a brilliant con man. Because he's not stating any facts. He's stating emotion. He's making accusations, ones that can be proven false almost immediately. But number one, people don't look that far in And number two, when you are able to get at people's emotional state, they follow you. Much more, and we're going to play the difference between Chuck Schumer and Mitch McConnell a little bit, because Mitch McConnell is the worst. The Republicans make a mistake because they don't use emotion. They're all reason and logic, and it gets boring. But I want you to listen to Chuck Schumer. And again, this is the same guy that said he had no faith in James Comey just a couple weeks ago, right? Now, he's out there, and boy, he's on James Comey's side. And again, I don't know how people fall for this kind of manipulation. And if you do, you really need, and this is just me being honest with you, if you think what Chuck Schumer's saying is true, you really should, and do this for yourself, do some investigation and take a look and see how false these statements are. Chuck Schumer is the definition of fake news, but he's the minority leader in the United States Senate. All right, let's take a listen to Chuck Schumer and his brilliant con job here on the Rusty Humphries Rebellion.
We know the F.B.I. has been looking into whether the Trump campaign colluded with the Russians, a very serious offense. Were these
Okay, by the way, I'm going to stop him right there. We'll get into this. There has been absolutely no proof, no evidence that the Trump administration did anything with the Russians, whether it was before he was running for president or while he was actively campaigning. Now, we do know that Teddy Kennedy, back in the day when he was trying to run against Jimmy Carter, he did go to the Russians and ask for help. We know that's a fact. If you don't believe me, again, Google that one. Teddy Kennedy, Russians running for president. Go take a look at that one. So what the Democrats are doing here that is so brilliant is they know it's a lie. And a lie repeated often enough becomes the truth. This is marketing, not just 101. This is college level marketing manipulation, persuasion. I'll give him credit for this. It's brilliant what he's doing. The lie continues over and over and over again. And anytime there's truth that comes out, they pay no attention to that, ignore that, go back to the lie. Back to Chucky Schumer here.
investigations getting too close to home for the president?
Oh, let me take that back. You got to hear this.
It is troubling.
I got to take that back.
That
Hold
Attorney
on. Hold on. It's too good. It's too good, the lie. Oh, come on. Here we go.
Home for the president? Offense. Were these investigations getting too close to home for the president? It is troubling that Attorney General Sessions, who had recused himself from the Russian investigation, played a role in firing the man leading it. So what happens now? Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein sat in the Judiciary Committee and promised to appoint a special prosecutor at the appropriate time. That time is right now. The American people's trust in our criminal justice system is in Rosenstein's hands.
All right, we're just going to stop it there because I'm going to get bored and get angry. Because, again, repeating the lie over and over again, people that don't pay that much attention, the only thing they hear is Trump, Russia, investigation. That's it. Those three words, that's it. Now, he's done a great job at manipulating the public. Now, let's take a listen to Mitch McConnell. He is the majority leader, Republican. Listen to his delivery. And he's so boring, you cannot get emotionally invested. That's why he's not a great leader. That's why the American people, he may be doing great in the Senate with a bunch of boring people. But regular folks, I bet you if you went out there and talked to 100 people, what do you think? 80 would not know who Mitch McConnell is, maybe 90? And this is the most powerful guy in the Senate? Take a listen why.
Now, on one final matter, whatever one thinks of the manner in which Director James Comey handled the investigation into Secretary Clinton's unauthorized use of a private server and her mishandling of classified information,
Are you getting bored yet?
it is clear what our Democratic colleagues thought of it, both at that time and consistently thereafter. Last year, the current Democratic leader said it appeared to be an appalling act, one that he said goes against the tradition of prosecutors at every level of government.
Okay, now what he's doing is right. He's trying to say, listen, here's what Chuck Schumer said a year ago. Chuck Schumer didn't like James Comey, said James Comey couldn't be trusted. All of that is true. But when you do it in a reading, slow voice, coughing, using words that are too big, you lose the audience. And there's the problem. There's the problem. One of the things, I'm writing this book, and it's going to be out in a couple of weeks. It's called Inspire, Engage, and Sell. It's an insider's guide to copywriting. Now, if you're not a copywriter for commercials, that's okay. That's not. It's about that, but also you're going to learn a little bit about communication, written communication, and I'll do one about voice communications and things like that coming up in a little bit. But what I talk about in there, and I also talk with Mark Young and a friend of mine, Ken Moskowitz, and another friend of mine, Josh Manning. And these guys are all experts in getting people's attention. And one of the things that I learned, and I didn't know this, to speak effectively to the American public, do you know what grade you're supposed to talk at? Is it college? I would think Mitch McConnell, was speaking at a college level. Nope. You know what level gets the most attention? 5th grade level. 5th grade. And part of it is, it's not that everybody's stupid, but when I get from what it appears that to persuade people, to get people to listen and pay attention, if you start using too many big words, they tune out. And that's the majority of the American public. You know, in the book, and I don't want to give away too much of it yet, but Mark Young was talking about how, Mark Young, and by the way, he does a great podcast with Chuck Woolery. It's a show called Blunt Force Truth. You really should check it out. They're great guys, good show. Anyway, what Mark was talking about that was fascinating to me was that he is friends with Anthony Robbins, Tony Robbins, the great speaker, motivator guy. And Anthony Robbins worked with Bill Clinton, but he also worked with Donald Trump. And one of the things Tony said was he talked about this rule about how you want to speak at a 5th grade level. And it was one of the big reasons why Trump won. Because Hillary thought she was going to be all high and mighty and speak to the college crowd and the intelligentsia. And nobody liked her. Trump was tweeting stuff. Everybody understood what he said. You may not like him, but you understood what he said. A lot of what Hillary did, she made a very, very terrible emotional connection with the American people. I'm reading another book. What's it called? It's about Hillary Clinton's campaign. And when I say reading, I love audiobooks from Audible. No, they're not customers of mine. They should be. But called Shattered, Inside Hillary Clinton's Doomed Campaign. Man, was that place a mess. And nobody, and she just couldn't connect with anybody on her staff. I mean, it was just terrible. Maybe we'll have that author on coming up in a little bit. So anyway, so the difference there, you're taking a listen, you can hear the difference between Chuck Schumer, all emotion, all phony charges, getting people riled up about Donald Trump, and Mitch McConnell, slow, boring, coughing into the microphone and not getting anybody's attention. Now, here's another, I got one more. And this guy's pretty good at getting people's attention. The problem is he uses it for evil and not for good. I'm talking about Stephen Colbert. Now, Stephen Colbert last night, and part of the thing that's going on, and I talked about this yesterday again with Mark Young and Chuck Woolery. We had a great couple of days together in Detroit. And we were talking about when Stephen Colbert made that really nasty comment on CBS. And then we were talking about Alec Baldwin on Saturday Night Live and how he does this nasty, mean Trump impression. And then we were talking about the guy that hosted the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And they all had one thing in common. Number one, they weren't funny anymore. And number two, what came off as funny to them was basically hate speech, really mean and evil and harsh. And so what we've figured out is that right now, hate is the new humor for the left. It makes them feel some kind of a connection. When you can say, I hate Donald Trump, and you say mean things, that makes a lot of people on the left, for some reason, feel comfortable. But Stephen Colbert last night is now going to a different level. It's not just telling jokes. Now he's telling you how to think and how to feel. What do you mean? And by the way, I'm not sure if the Democrat Party is paying half of his salary now. With this, they probably should be. Because Colbert isn't funny. Listen, hate is the new humor, right? I've been saying this. What he's doing is stirring up the rabid emotions of the masses. And this isn't going to go well. So listen to what he's talking about. He starts off talking about how James Comey gets fired. The audience starts applauding, and he basically says, no, that's not a good thing. It's not, he deserves to have his job. Trump's evil. Take a listen.
Huge story that broke just minutes ago, like less than 10 minutes ago. FBI Director James Comey has just been fired by Donald Trump. Wow. Huge Donald Trump fans here tonight.
Which, by the way, you say that you're... Hold on. When you say you're a huge Donald Trump and a Stephen Colbert audience, a huge Donald Trump fan, that's bad. That's really bad. But he continues. Now, remember, the audience just applauded wildly about James Comey's firing. Now, Stephen Colbert takes it upon himself to no longer be funny, but to be the chief propagandist for the left. He's going to tell them that they're wrong for agreeing with something that Trump said or did.
That shows no gratitude at all. Man. I mean, did Trump forget about the Hillary emails that Comey talked about? I mean, thanks for the presidency, Jimmy. Now don't let the door hit you where the Electoral College split you. I'm sad. My heart is thumping. My pulse is racing. He fired the FBI director who has said under oath that he's investigating the Trump campaign's ties with Russia. No rationale has been given yet as to why, but it came on the recommendation of Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Yeah.
So now he's turning him around.
I think I might know why. I think he was fired because Comey couldn't guess the name Rumpelstiltskin. Now, Trump sent Comey a letter in which he writes, "While I greatly appreciate you informing me on 3 separate occasions that I am not under investigation, I, and nevertheless, concur with the judgment of the Department of Justice that you are not able to effectively lead the Bureau." Does everything have to be about him? "Well, I greatly appreciate you telling me that I am an amazing lover. I am leaving you for a younger woman on the advice of the Department of Justice."
Okay, I'm sorry. Listen, if it's funny, I understand. It wasn't funny. It was just, we hate Trump. Everything he does is wrong. And, you must hate him too. And then you can be part of the cool kids club. All right, coming up in just a couple of moments, former assistant director of the FBI, Ron Hosko, right here on the Rusty Humphries Rebellion.
They ought to put his face on a dollar bill. Takes all the fun out of being a liberal. He's spreading the truth from coast to coast, and he's much better looking than your average host. Rusty Humphries Rebellion. Rusty Humphries Rebellion.
Okay, he is the former assistant director of the FBI. Good guy. He's always been supportive of James Comey. Let's talk to him now. Former assistant director of the FBI, Ron Hosko. Hey, welcome to the Rusty Humphries Rebellion. How you doing today?
I'm doing okay, Rusty. It's a pleasure to be with you again. Of course, I'm a little bit more troubled than I was the last time we spoke, but we'll talk about it.
Okay, yeah, you as the former assistant director of the FBI, you like James Comey, right?
I did. I think Jim Comey is a good American, a patriot, somebody who stepped away from a private industry job to come back to public service. for the right purpose, and that was, justice and doing the right thing for a big and powerful and important organization. I like him personally. I appreciate and honor his sacrifice, and frankly, I thought the way the events took place yesterday were a slap in the face to him and to the men and women of the organization.
Okay, but I've heard that a lot of people in the organization have been tired that the news has been revolving around the director, and a lot of them are glad he's gone.
I don't know that I would agree with the characterization a lot, although there were certainly people who disagreed, both within and outside, folks who've retired that I stay in contact with. There were those who believed that first, that there was enough to prosecute Hillary Clinton last year. The others who believed that the director went too far in his comments back in July, in a way that committed him to more comments that did kind of put himself into the center of the conversation. And I think reasonable people could agree that there was very little precedent for as far as the director went in July with an unindicted subject, Hillary Clinton. And then it committed him to this path of action of openness with Congress, which is the right thing to do. But as it played out, a few days before the election, he felt like he had to tell them something had changed. And, very much he has been in the middle of a political firestorm time and time again, and we're seeing, the result of that yesterday and today.
Now, the Democrats, in my opinion, are going crazy, go nuts. I mean, absolutely insane. It wasn't that long ago they hated James Comey. All of a sudden, he's the Pope. And this is all about Trump, and he should be impeached over this. What do you think of that?
I think you're on the mark. What this is about, I believe, is a great example, current example of how deep political hypocrisy is in Washington, D.C. Those Democrats, many of whom were criticizing or questioning his integrity or his judgment last week after the hearings, are now rushing to his defense in a full-throated way. They're outraged. And make no mistake, those Democrats do not care one whit about what just happened to Jim Comey. What they want to do is use him as a bludgeon to beat the White House for their decision, for the timing of their decision, and raise suspicion about White House connectivity to the Russian scandal. And that's yet to be unraveled. But the political hypocrisy here in Washington, D.C., and I certainly am not absolving the political right from it, it's frankly why I think there is a need for an independent commission composed of people that everyday Americans can say, yes, I trust that person.
Right.
And those people do not exist on Capitol Hill.
Not according to John McCain. John McCain said this morning that James Comey was the most respected man in America.
Well, Jim Comey...
you might have said that 5 years ago, but you can't say that today, right?
Yeah, I mean, Jim Comey's true blue. John McCain has his own purposes as well. And when I last looked, there was a poll, a Gallup poll, and the least trusted institution of American government is Congress. I would count myself among the no votes on trust and confidence in that body and in most of the representatives of that body to find the right thing. Let's just find the facts. And I don't agree today with calls for a special prosecutor as long as the FBI is empowered with all the tools they needed, the resources they need, the investigative tools they need, whether it's grand jury, national security letters, search warrants, intercept requests, to unravel what's happened in this Russia influence campaign. To me, and I think to most people inside that organization, they don't care who it touches. They want to get to the truth. And I think we need an independent commission to do that. Today I don't see a need for a special prosecutor because the question is, okay, who do we prosecute? It suggests that there's somebody teed up for prosecution, but I think we need an independent body with all of the right tools, or give those tools fully to the FBI. And I think we will hear the voices of discontent and mutiny very loudly if we find that those tools haven't been given to them.
Okay, I want to be a fair and honest journalist. But I listen to the Russian stuff, and to me, it all just sounds like political hooey. I don't buy it one bit. You're the investigator. What say you?
Well, I was the investigator, and, I want to see the evidence. I want to understand.
Have we even seen any, have we?
I don't think we've seen anything substantive. Now, do I believe, and this I have seen because of my experience there, the Russians are trying to intrude in whatever they can get into that's American, whether they steal it, whether they understand how the system works, whether they manipulate the data. They have their own purposes for the theft, and that is widespread and ongoing, aggressively. Same is true of China. So that part is there, and I absolutely believe the Russians tried to influence the election. I want to see more about their relationship with WikiLeaks. Mm-hmm. Who's enabling who? Who's facilitating who? I certainly want to know if anybody in the Trump campaign colluded with them, had inside information, did something that they shouldn't have done. I haven't seen that evidence yet, but this is not uncommon in a counterintelligence-centric investigation where there's a lot that's under the surface. We expect that the FBI is doing a lot of things quietly, with national security letters and other techniques. They're not announcing it at every step of the way. Mm-hmm. And, the frustration for us, this private citizen, is I want these answers today.
Right.
And the reality is it's going to be weeks or months until we get close to those answers. If to the extent that they can tell us the entire scope of it, and perhaps we will see somebody indicted for criminal misconduct. And if that's true, let the chips fall where they may.
All right. Now, I don't see that Trump and Vladimir Putin were sitting around and calling each other on Skype and sending cutesy emails and helping each other out. I don't see that, which is what the left is trying to portray. But I did see Hillary Clinton with a whole bunch of emails that got destroyed. I mean, should she not be investigated, or she lost and we just forget about that now?
Yeah, I think on that matter, look, DOJ, Jim Comey came out with his July the 5th commentary, and that was, in effect, the FBI's opinion on how the case ought to proceed. DOJ has a role. DOJ was not disqualified from the Clinton investigation. They didn't recuse themselves writ large. Loretta Lynch kind of pulled back a bit, but DOJ still had a role. And if they saw there's something that needs to be prosecuted here, there's no statute that, probably some counts of a potential indictment. The statute is probably behind us, mm-hmm. but there are other pieces that are there. And, again, I am expecting that good, honest prosecutors are making that determination as well. And that being said, I don't think we should constantly be looking back to beat up our political enemies. Right. Now, and I take a different view on the Clinton Foundation. If there's something there, that's fair game, and I hope and I trust that the FBI is moving full steam ahead on the investigation. If you've broken the law, I don't care if you're the President of the United States, the Secretary of State, or others. If the evidence is there to sustain an indictment and conviction, move forward.
Right. See,
we call it the rule of law.
I just want the truth. If Trump was hanging out with Putin and Putin helped sway this election, I want him prosecuted. If Hillary broke the law and the Clintons broke the law, they should be prosecuted. I'm tired of these elites being held above the law.
I'm with you entirely. If the evidence is there, we need to do what we must do. The law expects it. It demands it. It's one of the great frustrations, I think, of those of us who served in sensitive positions, and there's probably 1 million plus of them with clearances in D.C. It is a great frustration of ours that Hillary essentially, putting the election aside, mm-hmm. she walked away scot-free from conduct that any of us would have had our security clearance revoked. We would have never had a job in the intel community again. We would have been fired from our position, and she walked away almost as though, hey, nothing touches me, and
then points the finger at Trump and the Russians. Right, pointing the finger at everybody else. Again.
Rusty, I will leave you with this thought that I shared last night. There is a line of thought, shared by, I think, a lot of former FBI folks who've had contact with the Clintons in the past through Whitewater and other investigations, that anything Bill or Hillary touches corrodes. And the most recent example of that might be Jim Comey's badge. Jim Comey touched it, and his badge corroded, and it fell off yesterday. And I think that's sad, for someone who I believe in, and I appreciate his sacrifice. But it may be just another example of that belief.
Ron Hosko, the former assistant director of the FBI. How do we find you online?
Law Enforcement Legal Defense Fund, policedefense.org online, and please look at our cases and the officers that we support. We are here to get your support.
Thank you so much for being here on the Rusty Humphries Rebellion. I really appreciate it.
Good talking to you, Rusty.
All right, great guy. And we will have him back on. I'm really trying to, and I know if you're somebody that's not as big of a fan of Trump as I am, you might be saying, oh, you're just trying to be one of those conservatives and you're following Donald Trump all the way down the pile. No, I got to be honest. I really, really am trying to be as honest with you as I can. All I care about is what is in the best interest of our country. And again, if Trump has done something wrong with the Russians, he should be out. But if he hasn't, this idea that we're going to continue to wrap that around his neck just to make him look bad, it's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong, and I'm not going to stand for it. Okay, can I tell you about a great new sponsor of mine? They're great folks. A good ad is not a manipulation. A good ad, actually, just lets somebody know where to get the product. I mean, I don't know how many products that you find online and you decide, gosh, I didn't even know I wanted that, but boy, that looks pretty cool. I find stuff like that all the time, and I don't think it's bad. Not at all. Now, I'm a businessman, and if you're into business too, and you're looking for ways to get your message out, a friend of mine has a great company out there. It's called Ad Zombies. Now, advertising has changed. Boy, it's changed over the last 5 decades, the last 5 years, 5 months. But what hasn't changed is the need for you to tell your story and to deliver it in a way that your customer or your buyer can digest, can understand, and of course, ultimately buy your product or service. And I've found the secret to delivering that story every time it needs to be told. And it's with a company that a friend of mine owns. It's called Ad Zombies. Ad Zombies is the world's best flat fee ad copywriting service. That's right, flat fee copywriting. Now, you might think, okay, well, that a flat fee was $1,000 or something. No. You can get a professionally crafted Facebook ad for as low as $44. And what's great about these ads, they're not lousy. They're really good, and they tell your story and they deliver results. And the founder, my friend, he's an award-winning veteran creative writer. He has worked on brands like M&M's and Budweiser and Frito-Lay. They've done work for the Major League Baseball and the NFL and the NBA. I'm telling you, these guys are the real deal, and their ads, well, they're like gold. And they help bring you the gold. So if you need an ad for your business, go to Ad Zombies right now. That's Ad Zombies, ADZOMBIES.com. And if you use the promo code, what should it be? Oh, yeah, Rusty. Use that promo code Rusty at checkout, and you'll save 20% off your first ad. Ad Zombies is the world's best flat fee ad copywriting service. They bring ads back to life. Go check them out, Ad Zombies at adzombies.com. You will be so glad that you did. Okay, are we done already? Yeah, program's done. Remember, my friend, subscribe and share. It is so important. Facebook and YouTube are strangling conservative views. We've got to go around them. The only way is for you to do your part. What do? Go to my Facebook page. Or go to Facebook, type in the search bar, Talk to Rusty. It's the number 2, Talk to Rusty. Make sure you like that page. Make sure it comes up first. Also, if you are listening to this and you're on iTunes, go to iTunes and please subscribe to the Rusty Humphries Rebellion. And while you're there, write a nice little review. We'd really, really appreciate it. It is so important that you do it. I want to thank Australian Dream for their support. Arthritis Pain Relief Cream. Go get that at any big retailer. They are awesome. Walmart, Walgreens, other great retailers. That's Australian Dream and my new great sponsor, Ad Zombies. I want to thank Australian Dream and Ad Zombies for their support. Coming soon, we're going to do a daily show and video. My new book is almost ready. It's called Inspire, Engage, and Sell. Insiders tips on copywriting. You're going to want that. And if your company is looking for amazing communications or social media consulting or training, or if you'd like me to speak to your large group, just email me, winwithrusty@gmail.com. That's winwithrusty@gmail.com. We'll see you next time. May God bless you. May God bless America. This is the Rusty Humphries Rebellion.